cloud computing, around the use of AI in the workplace, which is becoming ubiquitous. TCS today announced that they're going to have a deal with Claude on AI agents, and they've come out and said, I think the TCS CEO have come out and said that there's going to be as many agents as employees in the workforce. So we want to provide some clarity on what AI token usage looks like with agents, especially, and how our product suite, B2B, Clearframe and Aegis can help you manage AI token use, AI agent, govern them, keep your enterprise secure, and how to work effectively, because this is going to be a hot topic. AI uptake, using AI in the workplace, how many people use it, how much it's used. A lot of it is going to depend on token consumption. And unless the prices come down or something really shifts, it's not sustainable, as people are finding out they're getting bills that are very big. Even Microsoft, who were kind of one of the pioneers and sort of invested in OpenAI early, they sort of stopped for a while, use of AI by their own engineering teams because the token usage was becoming unsustainable. So this is a big problem that, the biggest companies in the world are right now dealing with. And we want to give you some clarity around what that actually means for your organization and how you can govern token usage in a better way in the workplace. Okay, so the agenda today is really to set the backdrop, which we have done, which is talking about the AI token challenge, so understand token consumption and the hidden costs, look at monitoring and observability, which is really what our Clearframe value proposition is. It helps you monitor, observe, and govern, as well as keep secure your enterprise agent systems. Optimize, which is effectively reduce cost management, but also more important, compliance strategies. So for example, looking at GDPR compliance, personal identifiable information, PII compliance. If you work in the medical field, look at HIPAA compliance, NIST compliance, ISO standards, really looking at all of that, as well as new regulations coming up regarding AI use, such as the EU AI Act. And then finally, last, we will touch on the Clearframe solution. At the end of the seminar, we will be around. So if you want to talk to us about our enterprise products and how we can help you, we do provide sandboxes for enterprise to try our products, as well as we provide consultancy and training and deployment solutions for our products. So we are more than happy to stay at the end and take any questions, as well as look at how we can help your enterprise. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the AI token challenge. So what are tokens? Okay. I think it's quite obvious everybody knows what tokens are, but it's probably still a good idea to talk about them. So tokens are the fundamental units of text that AI models process. So effectively a token, you can think of it as 4 characters or 0.75 words per token. That can be more or less, but that's just one way of looking at it. So every AI interaction consumes token. I think Sam Altman from OpenAI recently said that AI will be built kind of like electricity or Wi-Fi use. And a token would be then the unit of consumption of your AI. Okay, so the way every AI interaction works is the input prompt, it's what you input, and the output, which is a completion what the AI provides. And that will be your total token. So normally your input, what you prompt, is a smaller portion of it, and then the output, the completed product, is a larger portion of it. Now, why is it important? So let's say you're using AI agent and you haven't really been able to prompt the AI properly, effectively, and you've got an output that is not directly relevant to what you were looking for. That, of course, increases your token count. That's direct AI LLM use. Or you can think about an AI agent working autonomously, but it is drifting from its stated goal. Okay, and then that will increase your total token cost. Okay, the second thing is enterprise scale. So a single team can generate sort of millions of tokens daily. When I mean say generate, I mean they can consume, because you really want to think of it as a consumable. So total token costs vary dramatically, sort of GPT-4 class models and up, GPT 5.5 and the latest ones, Opus, and now we've seen the whole Mythos and Fable craze coming out. they can be 10 to 50 times more expensive than smaller models. Now, one of the very interesting things here is that people who've just tried out Fable, I think Fable is coming out in a couple of products. I think Cursor has some aspect of it, the Mythos class models coming out. A lot of people are complaining that it stops before a task is completed. So you have the capability, but you don't have the use. And now really everybody's going to be looking at a new type of engineering problem is how do you input and output and goal monitor to effectively reduce your token consumption. So that's your token consumption is going to become kind of a primer of how good somebody is as an engineer, right? And hidden multipliers sort of include retries, so if something's stopped, or context windows and multi-turn conversations. So the longer the context window, the longer the chain of reasoning, obviously your token consumption goes up. It also means that once you've started a conversation and let's say you've got 40% of the answer you wanted, the incentive of starting an entire new chat rather than carrying on in that chat is actually lower, because if you've got a semblance of a decent answer, following up in that conversation and asking a follow-up question is much better because it now remembers the context, whereas starting a new chat will mean you have to sort of prompt it and get the context up again. So these are all things that add up to token cost. And it's very, very important to then understand how you can optimize your AI token consumption. So these are the kind of hidden costs. So 76% of AI firms have no cybersecurity practices to manage risks. This is tangential, but this is not something that our product suite covers, but this is not really directly relevant what we're talking about. What we're talking about that's directly relevant to today's talk is, the 4 out of 10, which is the average preparedness rating for AI scale token management. Even as something as basic as being trained in how to prompt properly is not something that is taught regularly at institutions. So many developers don't really know what framework to use for prompt, how do this the context, is there some kind of a template for writing prompts, what is the best type of prompt to use for type of task. These things are not taught, and this is actually quite important. Okay, 65% of organizations already run AI agents in production today. However, the training around this is not really up to scratch, and something we can help teach organizations how to prompt, how to govern these models properly. And that's part of the reason we have the clear frame stack. And the key risks, the one that is very obvious to everybody and quite painfully, is budget overruns. So uncontrolled token spend, or that's one thing. The other thing is not being able to really estimate the token spend that is going to happen. So you haven't really estimated how much you're going to spend in tokens at the start of the month, and at the end of the month you probably use 200-300% of what you wanted to spend on. So you've actually now got a problem where you've got, let's say, an unpaid bill where your token consumption has gone 200-300, even more than your initial estimated spend. The AI model provider holds a lot of data about you, and if you don't pay that bill, they can actually cut you off. And recently it's happened with Anthropic. They've actually cut off a company. Now that company has a lot of data as well as context as well as work related to the Anthropic models, and that they have lost access to. And this is a catastrophe for that organization. Shadow AI is unmonitored users. So if people think if my organizational token spend is going to go up, I better not use that too much. Let me try it as a sandbox using something like DeepSeek or something where they're spilling out the company's beans and company's data on an unmonitored platform, or anything that they can get their hands on for free or a cheap £20 subscription. And they're now feeding company sensitive data to other places because they don't want to be the person who's gone and sort of done an overrun of the token spend. Inefficiency, so wrong model for wrong task. They haven't been able to set up the agents properly, fine-tune them, understand how to create a proper agentic workflow, and that leads to wrong models, wrong task. Models drift off the stated goal, as we've said, and that leads to not only cost overruns and time inefficiencies, but actually you might have a problem or a black swan incident, like for Amazon recently, an AI agent decided the code base was not good enough, so it deleted the entire code base. So that kind of inefficiency can happen as well. And then governance. So if these models are running, are you actually monitoring every part of the governance platform? platform, governance for them, so GDPR and personal identifiable information, all of these things that we've talked about previously. So that's something to be worried about. The main two risks we would say one is obviously average preparedness for token management, budget overruns, and governance gaps. These are three things that I would say are the key main things that companies are dealing with. And our product suite, the entire ecosystem we have, which is with ClearFrame, which is open source, as well as Aegis, Trust Registry, Sonar, they actually take care of this end to end. So they help you create agents, help you monitor agents, help you manage agents, help you look at the compliance, as well as the cybersecurity elements. So we have an AI specific SOC called Sonar. The next thing is monitoring and observability. So building real-time visibility into AI consumption across your enterprise. Monitoring AI usage across teams and applications. So you want a centralized dashboard, real-time visibility into token consumption by team, application, model, one unified view for your entire AI estate, and we provide that. And I think we believe we are the only uniquely company right now that is providing the entire ecosystem end-to-end. IBM have made a stab at some aspects of it. We've seen IBM have come up with multiple products, but they're not creating an end-to-end serviceable ecosystem, whereas we provide the entire stack. We can, of course, help work with you on one particular thing like ClearFrame, which is, let's say you're just interested in the AI governance, but we help you create those agents. We help you make sure that goals are monitored. We help you with the compliance. We help with every aspect of it. And it's one-to-end kind of turnkey solutions. You don't have to worry about going to different vendors for different parts of it. We take care of the entire ecosystem for you. Key metrics to track, so total tokens, cost per request, latency. Latency is a big one because you really want them to work at speed, error rates, and model distribution, track what matters. We have features, for example, where we can help create synthetic data if you don't have data. So one of the problems with goal monitoring is that your agent has not seen this kind of data before, and it therefore veers off task and does something that was unexpected, but we can help create synthetic data and pre-train the model before you deploy that agent. We can also help clean up existing data sets which are not possibly ready for AI use. If you use them to train your AI agent or AI model, fine-tune it, that can contaminate your model, and again that leads to do unexpected actions from the agent. Team accountability, so allocating budgets, monitoring those budgets, doing automated cutoffs, setting thresholds, identifying high usage patterns, and holding teams accountable for their AI spend. Of course, you don't want to kind of punish people for overspending, but you shouldn't ever get to that point. It's very similar to AWS usage. You really shouldn't say, oh, why did our AWS spend go up? Well, actually, you have enough tools within AWS to make sure that you never breach a threshold of spend within AWS. And similarly, with our ecosystem now, we are providing you the same tooling that, let's say, a cloud provider would to make sure that your spend is going really according to your expectations. Application level insights, so which tools consume the most tokens, which are the most efficient, compare applications side by side to identify optimization opportunities and retire underperforming tools. So we will actually give you a real-time live score of what is consuming more tokens, any anomaly detection as well. So we'll tell you, for example, this agent we're not sure about, so we'll flag it as amber. If you notice something the agent is doing that is not supposed to do, we will pause the agent from working and give you a sort of notification in red so you can have a look at what the agent is doing and decide if you want to move forward with the agent. We also help retire agents quite gracefully. So you've decided, okay, this agent I don't need, I've got something that's working better. So you create a new deployment and you retire an existing agent. And that's sometimes a lot cheaper than having to retrain an existing agent to keep doing what it does. You might just create a new agent and retire the existing one. Okay, so get notified when usage spikes beyond your expected patterns, set custom thresholds per team, model, application, catch your runaway costs before they impact your budget. And for AI to become sustainable and useful, this becomes very important, very similar to cloud. Okay, so again, we provide all the metrics, like we said. We also provide detailed logs, which we will be able to show you. We provide the traces, so end-to-end request flow, linking user actions to model behavior, and all of this observability becomes really critical. Similar to why we have things like Prometheus and Grafana, and AWS, you have all the monitoring. effectively we're providing the same suite for AI agents. Okay, you can do trend analysis, you can look at correlation, predictive insights, and optimization. Okay, so the better observability you have, the more likely to have sustainable AI usage, and that gives your business a competitive advantage in the work in the market. If you're a pioneer in sustainable AI use, you are more likely going to be a pioneer in your stated sort of business uh, uh, market, because you've been able to crack this problem that a lot of other organizations are dealing with. Okay. Now, selecting the right model for the right task. Not every job needs a frontier model, so knowing what to do. Prompt engineering, so reducing token consumption by 30 to 50% through optimized prompts and context management. Caching and reuse, implement response caching for repeated queries to avoid redundant token spend. Other things like batch processing, rate limiting encoders, continuous optimization. And the most important thing is a lot of organizations may be doing this in an ad hoc way, but they don't really have a system to manage this. And we are providing that system, I think, like you said, to help you manage the entire ecosystem. Organizations that will implement such cost optimization will see a 40 to 60% reduction in AI token spend within 90 days. Now, that basically also means you can reduce your 60% of your budget on AI spend straight away. Now, a lot of people are saying one AI agent, one employee. So you can think of it as a 50% reduction in your headcount almost, because if you want to have one AI agent running for every person, the only way to really do that sustainably is to cut the cost of AI agent use substantially. And the better you are optimizing that, the more sort of sustainable way you can run your AI agents. Okay, the next thing is the governance and control for enterprise. So policy framework, define acceptable use, approve models, data handling rules, and approval workflows. Access control, how do you access, who controls what models, with what data, and at what cost thresholds. But this is quite important. This is role-based access control for agents, not for people. Okay, so everybody knows RBAC, Apache Ranger, and the other systems, but that's for people. We're talking about role-based access control for AI agents. So if it's a cybersecurity agent, it can only access things that are related to cybersecurity. If it's a data analytics agent, it can only access things related to data analytics. If it's a supply chain agent, it can only access things related to supply chain. If it's a cost management agent, it can only access things related to cost management. So you will be able to create the guardrails of what kind of data it can access, what kind of parts of your enterprise network it can access. Without this, it's extremely dangerous, especially because of things like data poisoning attacks and all of this kind of prompt injection attacks that are coming up, where an AI agent can very easily be fooled, start hallucinating, where, of course, without really this kind of role-based access control, you are walking into a disaster by letting agents work autonomously. Because remember, these are tools, you can almost think of them as humans in a way, that they are autonomous, they're working independently, they're working with limited or no oversight based on a stated goal, which you might set through a prompt. If you don't monitor, you are walking into a disaster, not just financially, but also regulatory, also business outcomes, because if it decides it wants to delete your entire code base in a particular area, or a key documents that you need for legal or compliance, you're going to be in a lot of pain. So the only way to really deploy these agents is to make sure that they have these access controls. Audit trails, of course, so you need to know what it's done. And of course, that audit trails can be used to then further fine-tune these agents and models. Data protection, regulatory alignment, and of course the OS standards, or any other open source standards that you're doing for security and compliance. Okay, so the three sort of optimization tenets that create this AI optimization triangle is performance, capability, and cost. So dynamic model routing, effectively always selecting the most cost-effective model to meet quality thresholds, task-appropriate models, fallback strategies, and continuous benchmarking. The goal really is maximum business value per token spent. Okay, so whatever you token you're spending, tokens you're spending, you want to make sure each one is aligned to a specific business goal, be it your marketing or your cybersecurity or cost management or compliance, and each token spend is giving you maximum business value. Okay, not necessarily the minimum cost at sort of doesn't matter what. So this is the kind of trade-off that you're looking at. Okay, so what is ClearFrame? ClearFrame is our stack for compliance, monitoring, observability. It provides real-time monitoring, smart optimization, a policy engine, cost analytics, integrates with everything, and you can effectively start today. In our last webinar, we went through the whole stack, and we'll give you a little bit of a preview. But when it comes to deployment, you'll be able to see the full capabilities of our stack. So without going into going to more of a presentation, I really want to take the time to just show you very quickly. Seconds. One second, sorry. Bring it up. Sorry, just taking a bit of time. I should have seen it earlier.
Sorry, are you presenting something?
Yeah, I'm trying to get the web page up, but I'm not able to get it up. Sorry, so I'll just have to show the repo 1 second. Okay, so we have an entire demo which we showed in the last in the last webinar. And effectively what we have a suite of products to do with ClearFrame, but also Aegis, which helps you create agents, Trust Registry, which helps you register the agents, and Sonar, which helps you monitor the agents. Okay, so all of that works together in an ecosystem, and you can deploy the entire stack together. To see that we have a sandbox, which I'm trying to just bring up, but I haven't been able to. But if you look on YouTube as well as on our pages, you'll be able to see the entire stack working together. And we're able to provide sort of customized sandboxes for your specific enterprise use case. So yeah, that's it. Happy to take any questions, and I'm still going to try and get this demo up. 1 second. But happy to take any questions in the meantime. Anybody else have any question?
No, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? No? We will be putting a sandbox on our website anyway, so you'll be able to play around directly on the website. But it's probably best to contact us to get a customized sandbox for your enterprise to see what use case you have, and we're more than happy to provide a sandbox so you can play around with it.